war is going to be one decisively, first and foremost because of our spirit. But you know what we say in Pirkei Avot, אם אין קמח, אין תורה. If there is no flour, there is no Torah. Spirit is not enough. There are some things in life that are physical, and we need to take care of that. So one of the things we saw in this war is that 2 weeks into the war we had no munitions. We were completely dependent on the US, and the US embargoed us in the middle of the war. We understood we need munitions independence, and today Israel is moving rapidly towards the capability to be completely independent, talking about the production of munitions. When COVID started, there was a big question whether Israel will have flour to make bread. There was a huge crisis, and we understood that our country needs also food security. But there is one thing we don't talk about at all. And this is energy security, and this is something I want to talk about here. So how important is energy? Look at the Russian-Ukrainian war. From August last year, this year, till now, the Ukrainians attacked 58 times Russian energy sites, refineries. They sent drones 2,000 kilometers into Russia to attack energy sites. Why? Without energy, you go back to the Stone Age. Without energy, you cannot conduct war. And this is something that in modern warfare is very, very clear. Energy sites are usually easier to attack. You cannot put everything underground. And this is a major target today in war we need to take in account. Now, when we look at Israel, Israel has developed a lot. Its energy capabilities. We're still small, talking about renewable energies, solar energy, and other issues. We were a bit dependent on coal for a certain time. We still use a lot of oil, crude oil, which we refine. And of course, Israel has become a major power, talking about gas. We found a lot of gas in the Mediterranean Sea, and most of the energy today Israel uses to power its electricity and plants is based on gas, but still we are very, very dependent on crude oil. Now, oil is easy to get. Many countries sell oil, and there are many ships around the world that you can buy and get oil to Israel. But oil needs to be refined. And Israel has 2 refineries. One is in Ashdod, it's very small. The refinery is Bazan. Bazan is in Haifa. And what does it mean to refine oil? What does it mean? It means you get crude oil, and then it undergoes a process of heat. And depends how much you heat it, you get different products. So it goes from products for the plastic industry. 80% almost of the plastic industry in Israel is dependent on products refined by Bazan. Mazut, which is basically paving the roads or even the air bases. Diesel for our tanks. Diesel for electricity plants. Jet fuel. And many other products that are being refined, and Israel is heavily dependent on its capability to refine the oil in order to get all these products to power the energy of Israel. On the 7th of October, we found ourselves surprised in a very big war, very complicated war, a multi-front war. And in this multi-front war, we found ourselves completely isolated. No ship arrived to Israel for almost a year. How do you sustain a country talking about energy when there are no ships coming? You cannot order anything. You know, we pay with dollars. With the aid we get from the US, we buy, among other things, not only munitions, we buy jet fuel. Not a single ship of jet fuel arrived to Israel in over a year. Imagine what would have happened if we didn't have the ability to refine our own fuel and use it for the Air Force. We wouldn't have an Air Force. This was the reality. So Bazan itself, as a organization, they have a fleet of ships, and the only ships that were bringing crude oil to Israel were off Bazan. And through that, we had the ability also to refine these capabilities. And this is how it looked like. So I want to tell you a few dramatic stories that happened to us in the war. Big dramas which you are not aware of at all that happened in the war. The first drama was that the minute they started shooting rockets on us, we had to shut down our gas. Because if the rocket hits a gas area and it's working, we would lose all the ability to produce gas. So we had to shut down immediately all the production of gas to Israel. What does it mean? No electricity. Our plants are powered by electricity, by gas. So the minute we shut down the gas, immediately we needed 300,000 liters of diesel. This production was done within 2 days in the refinery of Bazan, and they pushed massive amount of diesel to the electrical plants of Israel to power electricity. Without this capability, within a week, Israel would have been darkened. And we wouldn't have any electricity at all. Can you imagine that? This is the 7th of October, which was prevented. But then it wasn't just about that, because the Air Force started massive strikes, and these airplanes, they need a lot of fuel. And this fuel was not coming from anywhere in the world. And it's not just a matter of technicality whether a ship is willing to come and bring these goods or not. When we are talking about boycotting Israel, they know we need this fuel for the airplanes. They can easily say, okay, we can send you a ship with gasoline for cars, but we're not going to send you jet fuel because you are using it for the Air Force to attack Gaza or Lebanon or Iran. So we need this. Not only that, I want to talk about drones. You know how massively we use drones. Drones has a unique kind of fuel that is needed. Nobody can provide us this fuel. We need to produce it ourselves. We need to refine it. And the same goes with the positions on the Hermon. You all know we have positions on the top of the Hermon. But you don't know that on the top of the Hermon, because it's very cold, it's a very unique kind of diesel you need to use that doesn't freeze. This is what we produce in the refinery. So what's happening around the world is that countries are closing their refineries. Australia closed 6 out of 8 refineries, and they found themselves in a huge crisis. We know what's happening in Europe. We see countries like Germany that said we want to move towards cleaner energy, and they found themselves without energy. There is a huge crisis of energy in Europe, which also impacts prices, but it's not just about prices. It's about national security. And now Australia is trying to go back and try to rebuild their capabilities. And once you close a refinery, it's very hard to deal with this. Now you think it's me, General Avivi, that understands that? No, the Iranians understood that very well. They shot the refinery. When we fought Iran, they shot massive amount of missiles on Bazan refineries. This is the hits you see. The way they hit the refinery, and they managed to take down production for a few weeks dramatically. But this happened only a year and a half into the war. Until then, we did many things that enabled Israel to sustain this war for a long time. And now we're thinking, okay, how are we going to deal with this in the future and really make sure that our refineries are being guarded much better. So we need energy, but energy is not just about the war. This is also about peace. Because when we look at the vision of the Middle East, Israel is light to the nations, but also this idea of energy connects the region. I want to tell you that the biggest interest Saudi Arabia has, and the Emirates, putting aside for the moment the issue of security in Iran, is moving energy from the Persian Gulf with a pipe that exists that goes all the way to almost Eilat. And with this pipe, they can move massive amount of crude oil directly to Eilat, and from Eilat to Ashkelon, and from Ashkelon to Europe, When we'll sign these peace agreements in the coming year, one of the most important aspects is going to be that Israel is going to become a global corridor of energy. All the oil of the Middle East is going to go through Israel from east to west, but also from west to east. And this corridor will run from Eilat to Ashkelon. This corridor will be also a corridor of communications that is going to connect internet and so on from east to west. This is going to ensure endless supply of oil for Israel that will go through our pipes, so we won't be so dependent on these ships that we need to bring each time to our ports, especially talking about the challenges in a time of war. So I want to tell you something you didn't know. Another 7th of October has been prevented in this war, and this is an energy 7th of October. And the amazing thing, and why am I even standing talking about that, is because the previous government took an unbelievable decision. They decided to close the main refinery of Israel. And this decision might bring Israel on the verge of a huge crisis of energy in the next war, and will make Israel dependent. So we in IDSF today are working relentlessly with the government, with the Ministry of Defense. We stopped this decision now. We said to them, look, you took the decisions before the war. Everything changed. Now we know really what it means to be able to refine oil in Israel and why we need it for our independence. And now this process has been delayed, probably stopped, and we are calculating again what we need for the future to make sure that Israel will be energetic independence. So we are looking now at three main vectors: food independence, munitions independence, and energy independence. Thank you very much.